I'm old enough to remember Mario and Luigi's Superstar Saga originally releasing on Game Boy Advance. As a freshman in college back then, it did feel like everyone was playing the original Halo on the OG Xbox, but I found Superstar Saga endearing and really enjoyed it. I've since played it all the way through several times, including the remake in 2017 on the 3DS. I've also played through all the subsequent games since then, except Color Splash, and I've come to love the series and a lot of its tried and true elements. Its humor, its creative take on puzzles, its use of regular Mario characters in unique roles when Nintendo allows it, Bobby and Origami King is my absolute favorite. But Brothership doesn't land the same way, and this is after around 20 hours. I get that you've got to put some time in every now and then before a game clicks, but honestly, anything more than 2 to 3 hours, occasionally 5, is a bit much. It's not reasonable to ask folks to put up with more than that if the game isn't working for them, so that should tell you how much I wanted to like this game. In fact, my wife got it for me on New Year's Day as a present for having gone the entire previous year not spending any money on games. Our gaming relapse, as it were. A couple of big YouTubers have said that they didn't get into a rhythm with the game until upwards of 20 hours, and I'm like, come on, I shouldn't have to grind that much to start enjoying it. Let's dive into some specifics. So what works? A surprising number of things in the game are enjoyable, and don't get me wrong, you may very well have a good time with this title. Little changes and innovations like Luigi logic keep the game entertaining for sure, and I think it's a good use of Luigi beyond just the butt of every joke. The art style works too. The look of the game, the graphics, art direction, character models, etc., they're all well done for what they're trying to do here. I think some characters like the kids in Idol feel a little cheap or unpolished. They could have used a little more detail, but otherwise I appreciate the direction they went in here. Seeing the toads be used over and over again was a pain in previous games. Origami King had a ton of them and it got old quick. Here, I feel like they really leaned into making original characters and bringing back favorites. Peach plays a sizable part, Starlo shows up, Yoshi is part of the Bros attack. It feels really well balanced in this regard. And the enemies, they're one of the best parts. I think they really went all in on the whole electricity motif and it pays off. I like all their designs. So what doesn't work? Some nitpicks would be the ocean map in the top left. I wish it was actually a mini map of the island you're on, and that you could toggle between the two. Like, I do want to know where my ship is in relation to the next current, but I also want to see the island I'm on and points of interest without having to hit the plus and go into the larger menu. However, I will say that the actual map itself in said menu is very clear. There's nothing like a good, not confusing map, especially when I'm trying to collect shit. As for the larger stuff I took issue with, the battles? Is that how I'd word this? Maybe not the whole battle system, but the unbalanced elements of it. How come the enemies can attack and use items in the same turn right from the get-go? It's not always the case, but often enough that I notice it several times, at least in the earlier battles. And I think that right there, the early part, is what made it feel this way. They'd give items to a teammate to heal, then they'd attack. I couldn't do that until I started getting plugs, a skill you acquire somewhere between 10 to 12 hours in. Most of these were passive buffs that auto-heal you or give you longer jump times, but yeah, the enemies seemed to have them from the get-go, which felt more annoying than anything. If they'd gotten that ability later, or if they also utilized plugs, it would have felt more balanced. And my biggest issue, the dialogue. It's fine, it's passable, but it's just that. It's got none of the humor the older games had, which I feel made them a standout among other Mario titles. I really enjoy getting pulled into the world of RPGs, and I realize that the Mario universe isn't always conducive to this. But the dialogue in past games has made it feel like it's well thought out, with deeper lore than your average Mario game. Here, it feels like it has very little humor and leans more into exposition. So, is Brothership a good game? Honestly, I could go either way. I've put it down for the moment, but the fan in me will probably make me pick it back up at some point. The other games in the series had their flaws, but I made it through them, so I'll probably do the same here. If we're giving grades, it's a 6.5 out of 10. I will say, I'm really glad I played it, and it does hold a little bit of sentimental value, since this was the first game I picked out and my wife bought for me after a year of not buying anything. If it goes on sale, definitely pick it up, and let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. If you aren't subscribed, now would be a great time to hit that button, like, and share. We'll see you next time.